Golden State acquiring Giannis Antetokounmpo. This time, it feels realer than ever. Now, there is a bit of competition around the league. Surely other teams are interested in making a Giannis trade.
Just days ago, it was all speculation, rumors everywhere, endless debates about what if. For years, nothing was confirmed. But now, it's over. The decision is final, and the consequences are bigger than anyone expected. The real question is, what happens next? The Greek freak goes west, inside the blockbuster deal that changed everything. After years of speculation, rumors, and endless hypothetical trade scenarios, the moment Golden State Warriors fans barely dared to imagine has finally arrived. Giannis Antetokounmpo, the two-time MVP, defensive force, and one of the most dominant players of his generation, is officially a Golden State Warrior. This is not a mock trade, not a social media fantasy, but one of the most seismic transactions in modern NBA history. The Milwaukee Bucks, the franchise Giannis transformed into champions, made the difficult decision to move on from their cornerstone superstar. Golden State's pursuit was aggressive and unapologetic. Owner Joe Lacob and GM Mike Dunleavy Jr. made it clear that no one except Stephen Curry was untouchable. As the February 5th, 2026 trade deadline approached, every other roster consideration became secondary to landing Giannis.
We got a lot to talk about in terms of the Giannis Antetokounmpo trade saga. I haven't been on the channel in a couple of days. I was on a little bit of a weekend trip, so there is a lot to discuss here.
According to ESPN's Shams Charania, the Warriors presented a pick-heavy offer that few teams could match. Golden State sent unprotected first-round picks in 2026, 2028, and 2032, along with a top 20 protected 2030 first-rounder and multiple pick swaps. This level of draft capital gave Milwaukee long-term flexibility essential for a full rebuild. To match Giannis's massive salary, the Warriors included Jonathan Kuminga as the centerpiece of the player package, alongside Brandon Podziemski and Moses Moody. Bucks GM John Horst reportedly viewed the combination of young talent and future assets as the ideal foundation for a post-Giannis era.
He says even though the Bucks could potentially get more by trading Giannis this summer than by 3 p.m. on Thursday, Ramona Shelburne of ESPN says that Giannis doesn't want to sit out the rest of the year, and that could cause some tension up in Milwaukee. Now, the problem is that the Bucks can't risk Giannis tearing his Achilles. He's dealing with the calf stuff. He's on the shelf right now.
Timing proved decisive. Giannis's lingering calf and ankle injuries, combined with Milwaukee's fading playoff hopes and internal frustration, accelerated trade talks. While teams like Miami, Minnesota, and New York made serious offers, Golden State's clean two-team structure ultimately won out. This trade doesn't just alter two franchises. It reshapes the entire NBA landscape. The Draymond dilemma: how Green's departure became the key to everything. Landing Giannis Antetokounmpo required a sacrifice Warriors fans never truly believed would happen. Yet the blockbuster deal that reshaped the NBA also marked the end of an era in Golden State. Draymond Green, the emotional engine of 4 championships, the defensive anchor of the dynasty, and the voice that defined the locker room, became the unavoidable casualty of the math. Once the Warriors committed to keeping Jimmy Butler, the salary cap left them with a stark reality. Giannis's contract could only be matched by including either Butler or Green. Golden State chose to build around Stephen Curry, Giannis, and Butler, even if that meant parting ways with the longest tenured pillar of the dynasty.
So who would that leave out? Yep, Draymond Green would be the one that ends up getting traded. It's the only way. Like, the Warriors just don't have the money on their books. They're not trading Steph. If they're not trading Jimmy, then the only other name that could go is Draymond Green.
According to rival executives, Green himself may have been open to the move, viewing it as a temporary separation rather than a permanent goodbye. His $27.6 million player option created flexibility, fueling speculation that a future return to Golden State was always possible. Milwaukee, however, had little interest in keeping Draymond. A veteran known for defensive intensity, emotional leadership, and volatility didn't align with a rebuilding timeline. Waiving him became the cleanest solution, allowing the Bucks to reset without complications. Nick Friedel reported that Butler was never seriously considered in trade talks, a stance that effectively sealed Green's fate. The Warriors prioritized Butler's offensive creation and playoff reliability, alongside Giannis's two-way dominance and Curry's gravity. The final framework sent Green to Milwaukee with Jonathan Kuminga, Brandon Podziemski, and Moses Moody, plus a massive haul of draft picks. Giannis Antetokounmpo and Gary Harris came back to Golden State as salary fillers, with the Warriors fully understanding that keeping Giannis comfortable mattered.
Because the difference between the Warriors and a lot of teams that are making offers for Giannis at this point is that the Warriors do have that treasure trove of first-round draft capital. Other teams don't. And when the summer hits, a new year becomes unlocked in terms of tradable draft picks. So their offers will get better. but the Golden State Warriors offers will not. Like, they're still going to have the same number of picks they can send out. So they got to make this happen right now. And they got to strike before this other team strikes, the team that I think has the next best chance to acquire Giannis, if you consider the Warriors the favorites to make the deal.
In the end, Golden State sacrificed its young core and defensive identity to maximize Curry's remaining prime. It was ruthless, calculated, and unmistakably win now. The dynasty didn't hesitate. It evolved. The super team scrutiny, what this means for the NBA and the road ahead. The creation of Golden State's newest super team immediately reopens one of the most divisive debates in modern NBA history. Comparisons to Kevin Durant's 2016 decision to join the Warriors are inevitable, and for Giannis Antetokounmpo, those parallels carry real weight. The same questions, the same criticisms, and the same legacy scrutiny that followed Durant now follow Giannis as he arrives in the Bay Area.
But according to Jake Fisher late Monday night, while Giannis does respect and has an affinity for Steph Curry, people around the league are wondering if he's actually wanting to team up with him. Here's the full quote from Jake Fisher's piece on Substack.
League sources suggest Golden State was fully aware of Giannis's internal hesitation, concerns centered on joining an aging roster, stepping into Stephen Curry's long-established ecosystem, and absorbing criticism that has never faded for Durant. Unlike Miami, where the organizational culture exists independent of any single star, Golden State remains fundamentally Curry's team. Any superstar who joins must fit into that hierarchy rather than reshape it. That contrast played a major role throughout negotiations. Reports indicated Giannis viewed Miami as an appealing alternative due to its Eastern Conference positioning and culture-first identity. Yet when it came time to finalize a deal, practical realities outweighed personal preference, and Golden State's aggressive, pick-heavy offer and their willingness to sacrifice everything but Curry ultimately forced Milwaukee's hand. On the court, the implications are seismic. The combination of Curry's shooting gravity, Giannis's unmatched physical dominance, and Jimmy Butler's two-way intensity creates a trio with virtually no theoretical weakness. Offensively, defenses face impossible choices. Defensively, the Warriors regain a level of physicality and versatility absent since their peak years, but super teams are never built without sacrifice. Golden State surrendered its entire young core, its defensive identity, and much of its future draft flexibility. The depth behind the stars will rely on veteran minimum contracts, mid-level exceptions, and buyout market gambles. This is the classic super team trade-off, overwhelming top-end talent at the expense of sustainability. Championship expectations now sit squarely on health and chemistry. Curry at 38 continues to defy aging curves and remains one of the league's most impactful players. Giannis at 31 is still in his prime despite recent calf concerns. Butler represents both the greatest upside and the greatest risk. His playoff pedigree is unquestioned, but his recovery timeline and durability will be closely monitored. Across the league, reactions will range from awe to outrage. Western Conference contenders like Denver, Oklahoma City, and Dallas now face a dramatically altered hierarchy.
He doesn't want to re-aggravate his injury. The Bucks don't want him to re-aggravate his injury because that takes him off the trade block completely if he tears his Achilles. So it feels like they've kind of conceded and said enough is enough. We're going to make this deal, and it's going to have to get done by Thursday in the afternoon. Insane.
Rival front offices will be forced into aggressive counter moves, accelerating an arms race that reshapes competitive balance league-wide. For Milwaukee, the focus shifts to rebuilding. The return of young players and significant draft capital offers a legitimate foundation for the future, even as the present feels distant from contention. The Bucks chose certainty over waiting, prioritizing control of their timeline rather than risking injury, dysfunction, or diminishing leverage. For Giannis personally, this trade represents both liberation and burden. He leaves behind a stagnating situation, but inherits the full weight of expectations that come with joining an established winner. Every success will be questioned, every failure magnified. The NBA now stands at another inflection point. Whether this super team is viewed as the ultimate expression of competitive ambition or evidence of an increasingly imbalanced league will be debated for years. What's undeniable is this: the landscape has changed, the pressure is immense, and Golden State has chosen to swing hard for one more championship run before time finally catches up. Thanks for watching. Check out other cards on the screen.